Today is Saturday, November 25th, 2017. Thank you for tuning in and logging on. And we have a very special edition of Truthit in the AM. We shouldn't even call it Truthit in the AM. We should call this the Hebrew Israelite special, because it's all about you guys. It's not about me. It's not about Truthit today. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves to the people that are watching.
First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shah. I go by the name Yakanah Maccabees, and I want to give a shout out to the 12 tribes of Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and those who fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28 who are scattered to the four corners of the globe. Kwame Yasharala.
That's right. My name is Daniela.
And Shalom, this is Mikael.
All right, if you guys don't mind, I have this little camera going sometimes too. It's for my little vlogging channel, because I do vlogging now too. So every once in a while, I'll just have the camera turned on, and you know, that little beeping. Hopefully, it's not too intrusive into what you guys are trying to say or what's going on. But we might as well just jump into a couple things. I know you guys have your introduction that you want to do, so let me just ask you this. Start right off the bat. Today is the day after, or 2 days after, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Now, you guys, I know you, Yakanan, shared some stuff on Facebook about Thanksgiving being a holiday, and you shared something from the book of Amos.
Oh, yeah.
And how the Lord said, "I don't like your feasts."
That's right.
Now, does that mean the Lord doesn't like any feast that any man does, or was he talking specifically to the feast that they were doing at the time?
Well, he's talking about the feast after their own philosophies. All of these feasts that Americans celebrate, they're also tributes to false gods. Thanksgiving is celebrating the killing of our brethren, you know, and any holiday you could pick, we could give you the false god behind it. So yeah, he's talking about all of those feasts. He despises all of those feast days.
Okay, so playing advocate here. I don't like to say devil's advocate, but playing advocate here. So Thanksgiving historically was when the Pilgrims came, and they didn't know how to get food from the land, and the Indians showed them, and then they got along. So they got along for really good at that time. It wasn't until later that they started fighting over land did the Pilgrims really start killing and taking lives of the Indians, or the natives, the Native American people. So what say you to that?
Well, I'll say, you got the verse that lives smooth as butter.
Okay, Psalms 55.
Yeah. And bring Habakkuk 2:12. You can start at 5. Habakkuk 2, start at verse 5. We'll bring that up.
I reckon we bring it out.
Go ahead, bring it up.
All right, Psalms chapter 55, starting at verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
What'd he do?
He put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
So they came, and the Native Americans, they showed this man how to make it through winter, how to make coats of skin, and how to farm and live off of the land, how to fish, and how to make crops. And then they did what they did. Read on.
He hath broken his covenant.
What they do?
He hath broken his covenant.
So this white man, after they showed them how to live off the land, they broke the covenant with the so-called Native Americans, who are the tribe of Gad. Read.
Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
That's right.
But war was in his heart.
That's right.
His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
and they came with many, many treaties to the so-called Native Americans. And after that, they threw many, many Thanksgiving. You know, it's the commemoration of many, many slaughters of many, many Native American tribes. The Tainos, the Arawaks, the Nipmunks, the Massasoit, the Pico, right here in Massachusetts, the Sioux Indians, the Apaches, even the Cherokees, you know? So every time you're celebrating Thanksgiving, you're celebrating the commemoration and funerals of your brethren. So you ought to be ashamed to be celebrating Thanksgiving, because that's what you're doing, especially when the Most High has given you high holy days to keep, which are esteemed way higher than these so-called holidays. That's what we like to call them.
And what are some of the high holy days that was given for us to keep?
Well, right now we got the Feast of Maccabees coming up. And that's Hanukkah, you know, the Feast of Dedication. So we definitely should be keeping that. We should be passing those traditions down to our children. We got the Feast of Purim. We got the Passover. We definitely should be keeping the Passover, celebrating when the Most High delivered us out of the hands of Pharaoh, out of Egypt, and taking forth and going forth out of the Exodus. We should be commemorating this because we're going to go into a second Exodus as well.
That's right.
We definitely should be keeping the Feast of Pentecost, which is the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which should be going on after the Passover as well. These are the days that the Most High commanded us to do, not these tributes to false gods. Like I said, you can pick any holiday. People are about to celebrate Christmas, and we don't even know where it comes from, but it don't have nothing to do with Christ. And you got Christians talking about they get ready to put the Christ back in Christmas. Well, Christ was never in Christmas. This is Nimrod's birthday. And then his son was reincarnated, Tammuz. So what you're doing is when you're celebrating this Christmas, you're celebrating the worship of Nimrod and Tammuz. When you go to church on Sunday, you're celebrating the worship of Tammuz, who was the sun god. That cross that most of these Christians wear, that's the symbol of Tammuz, you know, so that's what they're doing. And you sitting there, you doing sun worship and sunrise worship, that's what you're giving tribute to.
Okay. Continuing to play advocate. They say, a lot of Christians say is that you should worship God at all times.
That's true, but Christians ain't really showing worship to the Most High during the week. The Most High has given us appointed Sabbaths. And the Sabbath during the week is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And that's when the Most High said for us to keep the Sabbath. Mika, you about to pull out a verse?
I want to bring out John chapter 4, verse 22.
Bring it out.
John chapter 4, 22. Ye worship, ye know what? We worship what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
So we know how we are supposed to worship the Most High. He gave us certain ways to do these things. You worshiping the Most High, you even showing him your love by keeping these commandments. Most Christians ain't even keeping the commandments during the week. They're not loving their brother as they self, because if they was, they'd be rebuking their neighbor and not suffering the sin upon them every day. That's how you show Christ and the Most High homage, by keeping these law, statutes, commandments every day, and teaching your neighbor to keep these law, statutes, and commandments every day, not just on Sunday. And they're not even keeping the Sunday as a Sabbath, because if you go in Christian churches, they selling plates and all type of stuff like that. You know, they cooking. You're not supposed to be doing none of that on the Sabbath, so they're not really keeping the Sabbath.
So when you keep the Sabbath from Friday sundown to Saturday to when on Saturday?
To sundown on Saturday.
So what do you do for those 24 hours?
Well, what we do is we fellowship. We go out and we reprove the people, which we're supposed to do. And we're going to cry loud and spare not, because some of the things that we have to say, you're not going to like what we have to say at all. You're not. And we're supposed to be the hospital for the people who out there sinning, you know, and they're supposed to be coming to cleanliness by changing their ways. Christ said, pick up my cross, deny yourself, and follow me. And if you're not keeping the commandments in this book, then you're not following Christ at all. You're not.
That's right.
It was certain things that you were told to do, and you're supposed to keep them.
Okay.
It's idolatry at its finest, straight like that.
And look at this, Slocky. Let me read Exodus 31, starting verse 13, for instructions of how to keep the Sabbath for the Shabbat. This is Exodus chapter 31, starting at verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
No, keep Christmas.
Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generation.
No, keep Easter.
Verily, my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generation.
No, it got changed to Sunday worship.
Verily, my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. So I got a question there now. It says, throughout your generations. Does that mean that has an end, or is it ongoing today? Does that mean it's temporary, or is it ongoing today?
Ongoing.
Ongoing. All praises. All praises. That ye may know that I am Yahweh, that do sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you.
That's right.
So holy means set apart. So the Sabbath is a day that's set apart to the work of the Most High.
Okay.
The other days, it's you're supposed to work and do your chores and whatever you need to do to make it society. But the Sabbath day is supposed to be a set apart day, a special day.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right. So, where does it have a specific? Because I know the days and the hours and everything were different in those days, or were they? And when was it appointed to specifically Saturday?
Well, it was day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6,
yep.
and then the 7th day was the Sabbath. See, what people don't know is that what we're following right now is the Hebrew chart during the days of the weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Romans, they had a 12-day week. That's why you keep 12 days of Christmas. It was the festival of Saturnalia, which is a Roman festival, and it was kept 12 days during a Roman week. The Egyptians had an 8-day week. So the 8-day chart that we follow is from the beginning. What's that in Genesis?
In Genesis chapter 2, I believe it is. Genesis chapter 2, let me start at verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, the Most High ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And the Most High blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which the Most High created and made.
That's right. So we're supposed to be keeping the 7th-day Sabbath that we commanded to do. And it's even written in Scripture that it's punishable by death if we were under the law of the Most High. But we live in the law, under the law of man right now. We living under the rulership of another man. That's because we didn't keep these laws, statutes, commandments. We went astray from the Most High. But right now we're given the grace, which is the grace period to get right with the Most High. And to turn away from our sins.
Okay.
Yes, like it also says that the Most High blessed and sanctified the 7th day, which we know is Saturday today. If you keep Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, whatever day of the week as a Sabbath, you got to prove with the scriptures that the Most High blessed and sanctified that day.
Right.
You can't find any other day of the week that the Most High blessed and sanctifies the Sabbath, which is the 7th day of the week.
Right.
So I'm not saying we're not going to be simple and say you can't praise the Most High every day. You praise the Most High every day. You thank Him from all the blessings that He's given you. But the Most High, He sanctified the Sabbath to be set apart and holy. You know, so you ain't supposed to be doing no work, no buying, no selling, no cooking, no cleaning. You're supposed to reprove the people and teach your children to go back to these laws, statutes, commandments. The Bible says we are to train up our children in the way they should go. So
Every day.
Every day.
Yep. All right. Oh, you guys are waiting for me?
Yeah, we questions.
Oh, no.
It's like I like to say this also. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 says, God does not change.
That's right.
It's man that have changed the Sabbath, not the Most High.
That's right.
And Hebrews 13:8 says that Yahweh, who the real English knows as Jesus Christ, was the same yesterday, today, and forever. And we read the Gospels. Yahweh always went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day.
That's right.
So there were some things, right? God doesn't change, He is the same, but man changes.
Yes.
And God allowed man to change and allowed those things to happen. For example, when man said we didn't want, or well, not that we didn't want God, but we wanted a man to lead us instead of God, God gave them a king. So before then, there was no king. God was their king. God was the man that led them. And then afterwards, they cried aloud to have a king. And God told them, all of these things are going to happen if you get a king. He's going to destroy. He's going to do all those things. And here we are today, godless and with presidents, with leaders, with kings, and everything such as that. So there are things that do change.
Well, the president, he's not our leader. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 15, 17?
Deuteronomy.
Oh, Deuteronomy, Salakia.
It's like I also want to say that Most High established the rules and how a king's supposed to rule in the Torah already, so it's already part of the law that Israel was going to have a king.
Mm-hmm.
So this wasn't Most High breaking the law to please Israel.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 15. And this is to show you that the king, mayor, like Joe Petty or whoever you want to say, they not over us. And it reads, Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brethren. Joe Petty is not our brethren. Donald Trump is not our brethren. So we are not to even be voting for any of them and setting them over top of us because their politics have nothing to do with us. We should be following behind Yahweh Shai. And that's it. And these law, statutes, and commandments that are here to govern us from the Most High.
So you don't vote?
No, we don't vote.
Okay.
What? Are you kidding me? But come on, man. It takes 25 of our vote to equal one of the top 1%'s vote. Why would we waste our time voting? The Most High commanded us to be separate. So all that Martin Luther King stuff that's being preached, that's wrong too. Even though I'm not going to say that his heart, that he didn't mean well by it, but he never said for us to join hand in hand with these other nations. That's not something that we're supposed to do. You know, let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 5. I believe verse 8.
I got it.
Brito.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 8. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house.
Talking about Isaiah.
Yeah,
I got Isaiah chapter 5.
But that was a good one too.
That was a good one too, yeah.
Isaiah chapter 5, verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth.
So we're supposed to be separate from this man. We're supposed to be placed alone. So integration was not something that we were supposed to do. We even flourished without them. I'm pretty sure you heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street,
Yep.
Harlem, the Harlem Renaissance area. We did far better without them. During the Great Depression, we went through the roaring 20s. We didn't go through the things they went to. And then they hated us, and they were jealous of us, and they infiltrated us. They sabotaged us. We did far better without them. We wasn't starving. We was living off of the land. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans all together. And then they dropped bombs on us. And that's a part of history they don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
You know? Then when they went out west and did better, they tried to push them back even further.
Okay.
They found out it was gold and things of that nature in the area. They tried to move them off the land then. You know?
All right, so we were taught so long, this is what a texter in the group wrote, we were taught so long for so wrong because we believed whatever the pastor spoke of. So
That's
this
right.
question is for you. When did you become a Hebrew Israelite, and what made you turn from the teachings that are commonly taught in the northern or the Western civilization Christianity?
Okay, well, my experience of how I got into this was I met Yakanan. I was out. I'm a b-boy breakdancer, so I was out breakdancing, practicing at City Hall. He approached me. He's like, "Yo, you know, you're from the tribe of Ephraim, right?" And I was like, "Man, this man's crazy. I was like, what is he talking about?" You know. So I went home and he gave me a pamphlet. And I went home and I kept it on the table for a couple days. I actually threw it away because I was like, it didn't make no sense to me, you know. And then when I looked it up online, I found other a so-called Puerto Rican Israelite brother breaking it down. It was IUIC.
Yep.
And I heard them, and I just started reading with him, started learning with him, and I was like, you know what, Yakanan was correct. And then it just makes a lot of sense, you know, when you think about when you remove color from the Bible, it makes the Bible hard to read.
Right.
When you actually put color into the Bible, it starts coming into sense. Like, okay, it makes sense that why God sent Joseph and his mother to Egypt to hide. You know what I mean? And things like that. So putting it together, and then my brother also used to, back in the day, he used to read books about conspiracies and things like that. And then when it just all came together, and I started listening and started reading the Word, it actually just clicked. You know,
Okay.
it made more sense to me that Israelites were the chosen people of God, and that what we're doing right now is just from, you know, what the European is just a Western custom that we picked up.
So you appreciated the way that Yochanan approached you.
Yeah, I appreciated it. He came through. You know, our kids go to the same boxing, same boxing gym,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I knew that he was a Bible man and everything, and but I didn't know he was an Israelite. You know.
Right.
Until that day, and then that's when I picked it up, and I was like, yo, I gotta reach out to Yochanan again and see if there's a group, you know, that I can be a part of and keep learning.
Okay.
I want to bring up Deuteronomy 28, 48, I believe was talking about the byword.
Oh, 37.
37, excuse me, Salakia. So we're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37. And if you're home and you're reading and following along, don't be ashamed. Take out your pen and pencil, take notes, because this is going to be a real history lesson about your history. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those who are scattered to the four corners of the globe that fit these curses, you know?
Yeah.
If you in Ghana and you in Igbo, we talking to you. If you in Ashanti and you here in Worcester, we talking to you. If you a so-called Puerto Rican, a so-called Mexican, a so-called African American, this lesson is for you. So rally up right now and take the history lesson that the teachers ain't teaching you, that the churches is failing to teach you, because that's what they doing. They failing to teach you, and we can bring it out for you today. Can you read right now?
Yes, verse 37, Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, where the Yahweh shall lead thee.
Wow. So Puerto Ricans, they're called Puerto Ricans, people of the island of Puerto Rico, but they really are Taínos. Most people don't know that the Taínos is in the Bible. They are called Tahanites. That's who God called them, and they are from the stock of Ephraim. So we're going to go to the book of Numbers, chapter 26, and we're going to read verse 35, and it reads, "These are the sons of Ephraim after the families of Shuthelah, the family of the Shuthelaites, of Becher, the family of the Becherites, of Tahan, the family of the Tahanites." That's the Taino Indians, and most people don't even know that the Taínos is right there in the Bible. All you got to do is pick it up and study and look up your own history. And you're going to find out this is who you are according to the Bible. You're God's chosen people. Blacks and Hispanics, you brethren. Stop hating each other.
That's right.
Come out of that gang life. Stop killing each other. Stop selling each other drugs.
This chapter was huge to pick up the understanding of it, and then when you actually start researching the words like Puerto Rico, it means rich port.
Right.
You know, and it was given to us by our enslavers, our conquerors, the Spaniards.
Yeah. And Hispanic means belonging to the Spaniards. So Hispanic means the slaves of the Spaniards. And that's just who they were. And they went into slavery 200 years before the West African Holocaust even happened. And they was brought to North and South America as slaves because they were taken to Spain and Portugal as slaves.
That's right.
Okay.
Another question that I had to myself too when I was going through this was, if I believe in this Bible, right? This goes for everybody out there. And you believe in the Bible, and you believe that we all came from Adam and Eve, and then we had Noah, the flood, and then Noah repopulated. Well, who are we according to this word? We got to be somebody from this Bible. That's if this is real talk, So that was another thing that clicked for me too. That I was like, well, it makes sense that I have to be,
right.
Like,
yep.
Because who am I according to the word? Nobody knows. There's no real history to tell me who I am, unless through this Bible it does. When you start researching and you start learning and you start manifesting, Christ in you, Yahweh Shai in you, you start learning, man. It just clicks.
That's right. And it's up to us to plant the seeds, And the Most High gonna water if it's meant to be. The Most High, like we brought it out previously. Jesus said, "My sheep gonna hear my voice."
That's right.
Okay. All right. So, how did you come to the conclusion that you descend from the tribe of Israel? There are many people who descend from the 12 tribes.
Absolutely.
But how did you come to this conclusion?
Well, we fit the history of the slave trade. If you go to Deuteronomy 28, it's many curses that we can bring out, but it's others in the book throughout it too. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 40.
42:22.
Yeah, 42:22. Let's bring that up.
While you guys are doing that, a texter says, "True acknowledgement, amazing history of Puerto Ricans," and that I didn't know. There are people who are learning from when you guys do things like
All
this.
praise to the Most High.
That's right.
So we're going to go to the book of Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22.
42, 22.
All right, Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses.
They're hidden where?
They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore.
So this is us, you know. If you go through any prison population, you're going to see it full of the blacks and Hispanics and the Native Americans, and we are for a spoil. If you go right there to Main South, our children are the ones who are being taught to sell drugs by Hollywood in the music industry, and it's being taught that it's the cool.
Yeah.
So they being snared. You know, and these are the traps. And none is saying deliver. Our leadership is lacking, as we previously brought out. You know, go to Jeremiah 14:2.
Before you do that, what was that verse? That was Isaiah 42 what?
42:22.
22, okay.
And nobody's trying to restore us. They running a business off of us being in jail. Bob Barker, Michael Jordan, Hugh Hefner was. You know, they were invested in prison houses. That's just what they were doing. And none say deliver of us. You know, it's child molesters that's not even getting prison time, and we're going to jail for drug deals for years and RICO laws and things of that nature. We were set up for a war on drugs, and it was an epidemic. But now that the opioid epidemic has broke up, it's a health issue now. It's a health problem. Now it's a tragedy to see it happen to them.
Right. Yep.
I don't even have no remorse for that, because it says, so as they have done to Jacob, they're going to drink continuously. That's Obadiah 15. Yeah, bring it out. Bring it out.
Wait, about the Isaiah 14?
Yeah, bring that up. But hold that and bring up the Obadiah 15 verse.
All right, Jeremiah 14:2 it is.
Jebediah or Obadiah?
No, hold on. Bring the Obadiah verse out first.
All right, grab it.
All right, Obadiah, what is it?
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Psalm of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah.
After Amos, one of the minor prophets. All right, what verse is it?
Obadiah 15:16.
Okay, Obadiah chapter, or verse 15 is just one chapter. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head.
So as they have flooded our neighborhoods with this crack cocaine, now they feeling it through the opioid epidemic that they tried to bring by keeping the war on the Arab man, by taking his opium and bringing it over here, thinking it was going to hurt our community and hurt their community. So now they're going to drink continually.
Okay. So this, there's a lot more than just faith going on. Because, you know, a lot of Christians today, they'll just say, there's a lot of things, you know, just have faith. And, you know, hasn't been, from my discussions with you guys, I haven't heard one time where you said, my brother, you're just going to have faith and just let faith and just have faith that what I'm telling you. You guys go to the Word and bring stuff out of the Word and, you know, present it as fact. So do you believe your ancestors lived in Africa? The Lemba tribe descendants partially from the tribes of Israel.
Yes.
But they're African. Is it the same for you?
Well, they live in Africa. That's
African citizenship.
That's a byword too. Africa was named after Scipio Africanus, so they lived in the land that's so-called Africa. Africa has had other names too, and it was called Abetulon if you ask certain people, or it was called the land of Ethiopia or the land of Ham, which the Bible calls it. So Africa is a byword, but yes, we do believe that the Lemba tribe are descendants of the Hebrew Israelites, absolutely, as well as many other tribes, the Ashanti, the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Ga tribe, absolutely. We're scattered to the four corners of the globe, so we're going to be everywhere.
Okay, so regarding your answer to the opioid epidemic, one texter says, what goes around comes around.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, so is this...
As so if a man reapeth, so shall he soweth, thus saith the Lord.
So is this full or partial descent from Jacob? Jacob's sons.
Excuse me?
Is this full or partial descent from Jacob?
Well, you are what your father are. If you are of the stock of Jacob, you are Israelite.
Okay.
Jacob's name was changed to Israel.
Okay.
Which means the prince of the earth. So we are the princes of the earth.
Okay, and in the Europeans, they do not come from Jacob at all.
No, they don't. They come from his twin brother Esau, who is Edom, who is Idumea, who is Mount Seir. So anytime you see any of those names in the Bible, it's talking about the so-called white man. Other people do descend from him because Esau did have daughters with African nations and Arab nations. But when you see that in the Bible predominantly, it's talking about the Roman Empire, which is the modern day America, which descends from the Roman Empire, the extension thereof. When you see daughter of Babylon, which is Edom, it's referring to America and the Europeans that rule society right now. Because all society is Babylon right now. It's a lot of homosexuality and all of this foolishness and this drug epidemic and this witchcraft going on all around us everywhere.
Okay. What are some of your biggest challenges when you are out there trying to get the word out to people? What are some of the challenges that you guys are faced with now that really make you realize that you have to work, that make you do what you just did, make you go breathe and like, all right, it's time to get ready for work? What are some of the things that are really roadblocks?
Well, sometimes our people just don't want to hear it. We just they simple. They happy with this, you know. So we gotta go out there. We still gotta let's go to the book of Esdras, 2nd Esdras, chapter 14, verse 12. Let's bring that out.
14:12.
14:12.
Okay. And they're remnant? That's what you want?
2nd Esdras 14.
2nd 14.
Slakia. It's 14. Hold on.
Hey, I got a precept.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 20. And though Yahweh will give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thy eyes shall see thy teachers. So, being men of the Lord on the streets trying to edify people and bring them back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, we are fighting against 400 or 500 years of Christianity because it has severely brainwashed and traumatized our people.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to overcome, and we've been hitting. You're not going to see us on TBN or the so-called Christian networks.
Daystar.
Daystar, right? Because they're keeping us here. They don't want us to bring this truth out. And,
So y'all not gonna come on after TD Jakes?
TV snakes.
I mean, the Christianity and the education systems is in cahoots to keep the truth from the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Let them know that they are the true Jews according to the Bible, and the covenant belongs to them. So we're fighting against hundreds of years of
Program.
program propaganda.
Go ahead. Go ahead and bring it up.
Alright, so this is 2nd Esdras, chapter 14, verse 12. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people.
Slacky. So we got to set our houses in order, and we got to reprove these people anyway, even though they're not trying to hear. That's what we got to do. Bring it out again.
It says, now therefore set thy house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption.
So we got to go out there and we got to renounce corruption. We got to reprove the people, and we got to let them know, look, no matter if they want to hear it or not, yo, you got to get this work. We're going to give you what the Most High said, thus saith the Lord. And to show you that the school systems and the churches are against us, I'm going to bring out Psalms chapter 83, verse 12, and it said, verse 2, Salakia. Psalms 83, verse 2, and I'm going to read down to 6, and it says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult against you, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against the people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. We are the hidden ones because we don't know who we are. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, and we don't know who we are. Our name is not in remembrance of our people.
Okay.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. If you go to our neighborhoods, you got the Asian man selling takeout in our neighborhood. You got the Albanians selling Dunkin' Donuts. The Italians got the pizza shops. And you got Wally Mart just exploiting all of us. You know what I mean? That's one of the curses. Yeah, I mean, it said we was going to serve our enemies in hunger and thirst and in nakedness and in one of all things. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent that are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, which is the so-called white man. The Ishmaelites, which is the so-called Arabs. Of Moab, which is the Chinese man. The Hagarenes, the Egyptians. Gebal, Ammon, which is the Japanese. And Amalek, which is the son of Esau, which is the so-called Jews.
Wow.
The Philistines, Africans, and with the inhabitants of Tyre, another African nation, they have all consulted against us.
That's right.
Okay.
So this is not by mistake. This is what they're here doing.
All right.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One more.
Yeah.
One of the things that we faced out there was getting our people to realize or to connect with the individuals in the Bible. They don't see themselves in the Bible. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, how can I be a part of that?
Yeah.
Like, how can I be these people? So one of the verses that really clicked with me, that helped me really understand that I am these people, is if we go to Deuteronomy 28, chapter 46, verse 46.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it out.
And it says, and they shall be upon thee, meaning the signs. These curses should be upon us, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should be upon thee for a sign. So a sign is used for what? To identify. Right?
Yeah.
That's what we use signs for. And for a wonder, and upon thee and thy seed forever. So my question for you guys out there is, how long is forever?
Right?
Yeah.
You know, these curses are going to be upon us forever. So if you start going through the curses, you realize that this is our people going through these curses till to this day.
Yep.
So that helped me understanding that. We use that to get our people out there in the streets to understand who they are, so they can connect with the individuals in the Bible, because they don't connect with these people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that was one of the issues we came across.
I want to bring out another curse that's upon us, and everybody should be able to recognize this very, very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 12, and it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. Now, right now, it's a lot of single-parent household where it's ruled by the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And our children are the oppressors. You go in the neighborhood, they selling the drugs, they robbing people, they stealing from each other, they killing each other,
Yep.
and they don't know no better. And the woman is not teaching the young man how to be a real man because the father is not there. Because we snared in holes for prison houses, as we previously showed you in Isaiah 42 and 22.
Yep.
Who else do these curses fit besides the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans?
That's right.
It doesn't. There's no way around it. And as he brought out, the curses are upon us for a sign and a wonder.
Forever.
Forever.
Yep. All
If
right.
you read verse 24 off, this is going to blow their mind about what this talk about the so-called black women today.
Yep.
And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of girdle of rent, and instead of well-set hair, baldness.
Wait, there's going to be said well-said hair, there's what?
Baldness. And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Now, as you look around us, our women, they suffering from shortness of hair. They are right now. And we put perms and chemicals and weaving their hair, which is receding their hairline and all of that. They're taking their edges away, taking chemicals to burn away their roots.
That's-
You know, that's the curse that's upon us right now. And you can see it.
Yep.
It's,
So a texter put in Isaiah 29:22. Therefore, this is what the Lord who redeemed Abraham says to the descendants of Jacob: no longer will Jacob be ashamed, no longer will their faces grow pale.
That's right.
that's right.
Thank you, texter, for the
Thank you.
scripture. Another texter says, "It is written, Shalom." And you guys got a lot of texters in this group that are
Thank you.
responding and being encouraging about this. So the next one is the present day Jews. We can prove, at least through partially, lineage through DNA and historical records. I'm sure you know about the Babylonian exile and the dispersion of the Hebrews. Now, some Hebrews moving into Africa is not far-fetched, but unless that can be sustained through DNA, then that is based on guesses and hearsay. The Lemba, Lemba, in southern Africa were able to prove their link through DNA, making their story true. But can most of these Hebrew Israelites, even the Ashkenazis, white Jews, Ashkenazi, thank you, descended from the tribe of Israel, they have some admixture because of them being in Europe for so long, but there is still a genetic link. And no, the Israelites were not black. Jesus probably didn't look much different than the current day Arabs and Sephardic Jews in Palestine. Moses was the same as were David and Solomon.
Okay, my brother, bring out Hebrews 4:17, and then I want you to bring out Jeremiah 14:2. Then we're going to go to Revelations, and we're going to just nip that in the butt right there.
We're going to bring out Acts 13.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, this is Acts chapter 13, verse 1. This is the apostles.
Okay.
Now there were in the church that is in Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that were called Niger, and Lucius and Cyrene and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod and the Tetrarch and Saul.
So it said they were called Niger. Niger is a transliteration of the word black. So
Latin word for black.
So you're trying to tell, or nigger, which has been brought to this country as the word nigger. So you're trying to tell me that the apostles that he just brought out were not black? Can you read it for me one more again?
Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Now this is the New Testament also. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that were called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul.
Okay. A texter, while you guys are getting the other scripture, says, "This is why I listen. The real truth, which wasn't taught to us as children. Me and my people needed to hear this decades ago. It would have made a huge difference in our lives." And another texter says, "Niger means black."
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you, Texter.
I want to bring out.
So as long as anybody calling the so-called Jews in Israel Niger or nigger?
Nope.
I want to bring out another verse since you brought up DNA testing. I want to bring out Titus chapter 3, verse 9, and it says, "But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain." So why would we trust our enemy's genealogy test in his DNA? Why would we? You know, we already know they hiding who we are. Bring out Hebrews 4 and 7, or is it 7 and 14?
7:14.
7:14. And then bring out Jeremiah 14:2.
All right, this is Hebrews 7 and 14. "For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah."
So Christ sprang out of Judah. So that means he was a Jew. Keep reading.
"Of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood."
So we're going to give you the biblical depiction of what the Jews look like according to thus saith the Lord.
That's
and Jeremiah
14:2. I got it. Jeremiah 14:2. "Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish."
Right now, our people are in a state of mourning right now. Our police is killing us. You know, drugs is killing us. We selling our women, all type of horrific stuff.
"They are black unto the ground."
No, they white.
"They are black unto the ground."
No, they pasty.
"They are black unto the ground."
So if you look at the ground is many different shades of brown, and black just means dark in that parable right there. So that means they are the darkest of the browns. So it says Christ sprang out of Judah, and it says Judah mourneth, the gates thereof languish, our leadership is lacking, they are black unto the ground. So Christ, matter of fact, let's bring out the depiction of Christ. Let's go to Revelation 1, and then we're going to pick it up at 14.
All right, so real quickly, Revelation.
This is what made the Mormons run out the house like 2 weeks ago.
You want to do it down now?
No, you got it.
Okay. Revelation chapter 1, starting verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, who we know as Yahushua, which the Most High gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John.
Now that part right there, when he says he signified, it means that he put his signature on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is confirming like this is my signature. Go ahead.
That's right. We're gonna skip to verse 13.
Well, let's make sure that they know that this is John seeing with his own eyes, where he turns around.
Go ahead, bring it up.
Oh, I don't have it on. He got it right there.
Okay, look. Right where it says to write it.
It's 10, I think it is.
Verse 10.
10.
Okay. Revelation chapter 1, verse 10. I was in the spirit of the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice.
So this is right. This is him turning around behind him. So he's not sleeping. You know, they want to say that this is just a vision, a dream, or something like that. But this is him seeing with his own eyes.
Yep.
Go ahead, now bring out the
verse 13. All right, in Revelation 1:13 now. In the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Who got woolly textured hair on the face of this earth?
Well, that's not a tough. That's not a tough question to answer.
Well, it's for edifying purposes. You know, we might have a white audience watching, you know, and we're going to edify them too, to shut down the lies that they have taught and let them know that they have inherited lies.
That's right.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Now, if you go to Genesis 49:12, it's going to show you that Christ drunk wine. You know, his eyes are going to be red with wine. Read.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burnt in a furnace.
So if you take a penny out your pocket, it's brown, you know? It's like a copper colored brown. And it says that it was like what?
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if it was burned in a furnace.
Right.
So if you take anything, you burn it in the furnace, paper, rice, wood, what color is it going to turn?
Black.
That's right. So that means that Christ was a very, very dark complected man. There's no way around it.
And this wasn't a dream. This wasn't. He was in. What he said? He said he was in the
spirit
of Christ.
Yes.
He heard a voice behind him, so he turns around to look. So it's not like, you know, it's just impossible to think that it's just some manifestation or some type of vision or some type of. He saw this.
Yep.
Also, just to add to that, we go to Daniel. Daniel chapter 6.
Oh yeah, bring it up.
Daniel chapter 7-9, and this is talking about the Ancient of Days.
Yep, which is the Most High.
Who's the Ancient of Days? I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool.
Now, what texture is the hair of the so-called Jewish people in Israel? Is it woolly hair, or is it stringy like a dog?
It's kind of stringy.
So it's totally different from the texture of the people of the Bible.
That's right.
That's right.
Is there any more questions from that?
From that text.
I am always intrigued why people, especially white others, want to act like everything didn't start in Africa. And the Bible and most, if not all, religious texts are out of Africa. Egypt is in Africa. Israel is in Africa. Northeast Africa. But most will say it borders Africa. The so-called Middle East is really annexed North Africa after Suez Canal created. This part of North Africa was called Middle East.
Well, first and foremost, we're going to rebuttal that, because Africa, once again, is a byword. And the people who conquered the lands, they named the lands after their names, which Africa is named after Scipio Africanus. 2, Africa is not the motherland. And we're going to bring that out for you, too.
All right, this is Galatians chapter 4, verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
So Jerusalem is the motherland. You know, right then and there, the scripture said. So don't try to say Africa is the motherland, which is named after a European general, Leo Scipio Africanus.
That's history.
Jerusalem is the motherland.
Okay. Now, is the Jerusalem in the Bible where Jerusalem is today?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say so. There's people that have been out to the land of Israel saying that.
Well, yes, people that say Demona, yeah.
Because the Jerusalem in the Bible is a desert now; it's not being occupied at all.
Yeah.
And I can read the borders of Israel according to the Bible. This is Genesis 15:18.
Texter says Ezekiel 1:27.
Ezekiel. We really appreciate you texters. Thanks you for tuning in and texting and
That's
making
right.
us even better.
Okay, I got Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 27. And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within, from the appearance of his loins even upward, from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about. So they talk about amber, which is means they have melanin.
Mm-hmm.
Amber is a deep, rich color,
Okay.
not pale. So that's a good precept. The water for that. Hi, y'all. We gotta give a shout out to our brother Ham. Y'all holding it down on the comment board. Shalom, brother.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shouts to Judah Knights of Israel. Rise the chosen south.
Shout. That's right.
Yep, amber is a yellowish, darkish, yellowish brown color.
Yeah.
And then you got people trying to say that Jesus was olive color. Well, ripe olives are black.
That's true. That's true.
All right.
Okay. What else would you like to bring out, Truthit?
I asked you what were some of the most difficult things that you have to deal with. What are the biggest misconceptions about the Hebrew Israelites? What do you hear that people say about the Hebrew Israelites that is wrong or that is way off?
Well, they say that we're overall racist. Well, we're just telling you what the Most High said. The Most High say that you are the greatest people on planet Earth.
That's
It's not us that's bringing it to you. It's us bringing what the Most High is saying. And you have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to any of all these other nations, they already think that they're the greatest nations on the earth.
That's
you know?
right.
Why you don't want to be the greatest people that the Most High ordained you to be? Bring out in Deuteronomy 7:6, please.
All right. And we're going to bring out a quote from Yahweh Shai also. So we're going to bring one from the Old Testament and one from the New Testament. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy God.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself,
That's right.
above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
No, you're equal.
Above all people that are upon the face of the
No,
earth.
you're below them.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So that's how the Most High is now. We above all people on the face of the earth. You don't want to be the greatest people on the face of the earth, and we in our lower state right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bring out 2 Ezra 6 also.
Yeah, bring that up.
And it says it's the same thing throughout the Bible.
Yeah, it says it also in the infamous chapter for us is Deuteronomy 28, the first verse. If you read through, it tells you at the end, if you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, I command thee this day that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
That's right.
All right, this is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures,
That's a good one.
of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. All right, catch this, pay attention to this part. This is verse 56. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, which has likened the abundance of them unto the drop that falleth from a vessel.
So the Most High is saying, for the most part, the other nations is like a loogie. If you spit down on the ground, you don't care about that. That's coming from the Most High. But then a lot of people, they have a problem with the Apocrypha. So we're going to grab the precept in Isaiah chapter 40, and we're going to start at 15. And it reads, Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a little thing. So if you got a scale and it's dust on it, all you're going to go is go, and you're going to blow it off. That's what he thinks of them. Verse 17, all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. That means there is something vain. The Most High care about Israel.
That's right. Now that was hard for me when I was transitioning from a Christian to hear stuff like that. And it made me realize that the real Bible is controversial. You know what I mean? For
Yeah.
people that are Christian minded, they don't like to hear that type of stuff. They're
Right.
like, he loves everybody. You know, and it's like,
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people they try to say that we got a different Bible. No, this is the 1611. This is the original Bible. The original Bible that the Protestants took books out of. 14 books called the Apocrypha. So if you get the American Bible, this is missing out of your Bible. And if you read Revelations 18:22, it's going to show you they're going to have a consequence for that as well.
All right, Revelation chapter 22, verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book.
And what that is Revelation what?
22 verse 18 to 19.
Hold up, but let's get into Exodus too, because a lot of people they try to Deuteronomy, get into Deuteronomy Slakia, because a lot of people say no, it's only talking about the book of Revelation. Well, we're gonna get it from the beginning of the law right now in Deuteronomy.
All right, Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh your God, which I command you.
And
So-
what is that? What verse is that?
Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 2.
So we ain't supposed to take away or add to it. So we ain't supposed to take the Apocrypha out, nor are we supposed to add the Book of Mormon or the Quran to it.
Okay. So that's Revelation 22, 18, and 19, and Deuteronomy 24, 2.
Revelation 18:22.
Yeah. Oh,
22, 18.
22:18. Slakia.
All right. So less than nothing. Negative 0 is far below 0. That's what the texter is saying. And
That's right.
so, what about the fake Jews that are, because one day all the original Hebrew Israelites will be returning to Israel, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, bring out Revelations 2 and 9, Revelation 3 and 9. And I'm gonna bring Isaiah 14.
All right, this is Revelations 2 and 9. This is for the fake Jews that you were talking about, right?
Mhm.
It says, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. That's talking about us, Israel. Right? We're rich because we're going to be inheriting the kingdom.
Yep, and we're in a poverty state, and that's another curse that identifies us.
That's right. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
So the fake Jews is the synagogue of Satan because they liars.
Wait, what verse is that?
Revelation 2 and 9, but he's going to get it again. He's going to give you a precept in Revelation 3 and 9.
And I got one in Luke too. I gotta read
Okay,
it.
well, we can bounce around on them real
All
quick.
right, so this is Revelation 3 and 9 real quick. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
That's right, because the Most High love us.
And this is Luke chapter 21, verse 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So to this very day, Jerusalem is being trodden down by the Gentiles,
That's
because
right.
real people are not in the land.
It looks like, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with what's been going on in the Middle East and over there in Israel, but it looks like we are on the brink of war. I have a not a bet, but I have a disagreement with Trooper Joe, who's usually on Truthit in the AM, and he thinks Israel is going to be the reason that World War III begins, and I say North Korea. So we've been paying attention in the news to what's been going on, and Israel is coming really close to attacking Iran or vice versa, and there's a lot of talks of war, as you probably know, with North Korea.
It's getting hostile.
It's getting very hostile over there in the Middle East too. So do you think we'll be going back in our lifetime?
Well, let's bring out.
Want to go to Job 3? Then?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, give me a second.
Hold on, I'll think.
I got another precept. Okay, this is Job chapter 3, starting verse 1. For behold, in those days and that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. So that's the Middle East today, the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So the Most High is going to, we believe that the Most High is going to create a diversion that's going to draw all nations to the Middle East for World War III, which is the War of Armageddon. That's right. So that's why things are hostile and heating up, because it was prophesied.
Okay.
So which precept are you looking for?
I thought I had one marked, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
If you want to expound on it, go ahead.
I think I got another one in Ezekiel 38 on Yeah, okay, this is Ezekiel chapter 38. This is concerning Magog, which is the area where modern day Russia is now. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus says Yahweh God, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. So he's going to cause diversion to bring Gog, Meshech, which I believe is Russia, maybe China, to intervene also. So it says, verse 4, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, and all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his handbands, the house of Togarmah, the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, and thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thee a guard unto them. So this prophecy hasn't happened yet either, so we're patiently waiting for that to happen. Come to pass also.
And at the end of the day, you know, the Most High is our salvation. We keeping these law, statutes, commandments. We shouldn't even be worried. I want to bring out the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and I believe I'm going to read down to 10. And it says, verse 6, 24, verse 6, and it says, And ye shall hear of wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So nobody is saved right now at the end of the day anyway. So in order to be saved, we must keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and not worry about none of the things that's going around amongst us, unless you're not keeping these laws, statutes, commandments that's the Most High and gave us to do this day.
And faith in Yahweh Shai also.
That's right.
Real dearly calls Jesus Christ.
That's right.
Okay, so and you guys, the Bible that you guys use, and it's the Apocrypha.
Yes.
Well, we use.
He's got the original copy. That's the original copy.
1611 has all of it all in one, like it was.
Yep.
And then they took out the Apocrypha, which is about 14 books.
Okay.
And they made it separate. So now there's a lot of confusion when you use this book because you're missing a lot of information.
Okay.
So,
all right. So
1611 version, King James Bible, you'll have all of it all in one.
Okay. So with all the books that are missing, what is the biggest disappointing thing taken out of that you had that was put in the Apocrypha, and why do you think would cause them to take those books out?
One would be with how we got onto this side of the world. That's a big one.
Totally agree.
Let's just bring it out. It shows exactly how we got to this part of the world. I think it's
Second Esdras 13, 30 through 46.
It continues from 2 Kings chapter 17, where the northern kingdom of Samaria was conquered by the Assyrians, and the 10 tribes of Israel was led captive and took out of their land. And in Christianity, they always taught that nobody knows what happened to the 10 tribes. But the Bible tells us what happens to the 10 tribes in the Apocrypha.
Where they go. So
Okay.
I'm going to read it to you right now. And it says, this is 2nd Esdras of 13 and 40. And if you look at the big, what I would say the videography of Christopher Columbus, that movie?
Yeah, 1492.
Yeah, 1492, he talks about this in the book too. I think it's if you go 7 minutes and 44 seconds into the movie, he mentions this book, and he mentions why he wanted to sail to this part of the world. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the same time of Osea, the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, the 10 tribes did, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Now when you listen to that, you got to think, everything on that side of the world, in Europe, Africa, or so-called Africa, and all these parts, we're already conquered and settled. So when he says where never mankind dwell, you have to think farther outside of that part of the world. That there they keep the statues which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them. So this is why our people know how to read the stars so well. Okay, our people and signs for them, and held stood the flood till they were passed over, which are the oceans. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Azareth. Now,
and Azareth itself means a land where never mankind dwelt. And this was a land where never mankind dwelt.
Okay.
I would ask our texters out there to go onto the Jewish encyclopedia and Google, and I mean not Google, but look up the word Azareth, and you'll see that it was from the Jewish scholars that it says that this was a land where the 10 tribes would go, and that Christopher Columbus identified Azareth with America.
Yeah.
If you look it up on the Jewish encyclopedia, Azareth, AZARETH, I want to say it's spelled. I have it on my phone.
All right. The last question that I have is in Isaiah 53, verses 1 through 12. Who is he talking about in those verses?
Oh, that's easy. You asked a rhetorical question, Truthit.
Yeah, I mean, we need that in Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah, spelling on it?
Yeah, this is a prophecy of the Messiah, Yahushua. Isaiah chapter 53, I'll start at verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahweh revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire of him. So he wasn't flashy, flamboyant, or good looks. He was just a straight ordinary person when he walked on earth, according to this description, prophecy. He is despised and rejected of men, a man's sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. But we know that throughout the Gospels, Yahushua was always throwing out the synagogues. He was always getting in fights or arguments with the scribes and the Pharisees
Yep.
and the elders, because they didn't want this word that he was a threat to the power that they had with the Romans, because he was fighting against this so-called system they had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4, surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten the Most High, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, and chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we were healed. So it's talking about the torture and the crucifixion that the Messiah was going to endure for our behalf.
Okay, and then I'm going to give you the fulfillment of the prophecy in Hebrews 10 verse 5.
Yeah.
Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sins thou hast had no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me to do thy will, O God. Above when he said, sacrifice and offering and burnt offering and offering for sin thou wouldest not, neither hadst pleasure therein, which are offered by law. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O God. Mm-hmm. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second, by the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua once and for all. And every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices which can never take away sins.
Okay. So you guys preach that the white man can't be saved.
We don't preach it. The Bible preaches it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a scripture that someone brought out for that, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this one before. My little children, these things I write unto you, that ye sin not. And if any man, if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous, and he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. 1 John 2, 1 and 2.
Well, who's the world? Let's expound on who the world is. Give me Isaiah.
Okay, Isaiah 45:17.
Yeah, bring me Isaiah 45:17. We're gonna show them who the world is. Hold on, wait. Let's deal with John 3:16 first. Let's deal with that. Let's go ahead and deal with John 3:16. And we're gonna start at verse 1. We're gonna bring it out. And we're gonna show you who Christ is addressing. And we're gonna show you who the world is.
I got a really good one right now, second entrance.
Yeah, we're gonna hold that one for last. I already knew he was going to that. I already had it in my mind too.
Alright, so John, you started verse 14 or?
We started verse 1.
Okay, John chapter 3, verse 1. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews.
So Nicodemus was a ruler of the Jews, and Christ is addressing the ruler of the Jews.
Alright, what verse are you going to go to now?
Go to John 3:14. Nobody likes to start there.
John chapter 3, verse 14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
Hold that. Now, who did Moses lift up the serpent in the wilderness to? Well, we're going to expound on that. We're going to go to the book of Numbers. I believe it's 21. Book of Numbers.
So many verses, right?
Yeah, Numbers 21:9.
Okay, I was going to start at 5, if you don't mind.
Yeah, there's any proof.
The book of Numbers, chapter 21, verse 5. And the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth this like bread. So the people in the wilderness, they were starving and they were bickering. Who was the people in the wilderness? The children of Israel. And the Lord sent fiery serpents and the people and among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent on a brass and put it on a pole, and it came to pass that if the serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. So when I'm gonna keep reading, and the children of Israel set forward and pitched in a boat. So Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness to the children of Israel. So let's keep reading.
All right, John chapter 3, verse 15. That's whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life.
Now stop. Now we're going to deal with the whosoever. So a lot of people like to run to the whosoever before they run to the world. So we're going to go to the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 21 and 22.
All right, Acts chapter 2, starting at verse 21. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahweh shall be saved. Ye men of Israel.
Who?
Ye men of Israel.
Who?
Ye men of Israel.
So the whosoever is ye men of Israel.
And also he's quoted in Job chapter 2, verse 32, which was written to the Israelites, whoever shall call on the name of Yahweh. So it's important to know the name Yahweh. That's the true name of the Most High, not Lord or these Christian names that they give them.
Okay. So now let's go. You can finish reading the verse.
Okay. All right, verse 22. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahushua of Nazareth, a man approved of the Most High among you by miracles and wonders and signs which the Most High did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know.
Okay, so the whosoever that we just dealt with in John chapter 3 is ye men of Israel. Keep reading. Let's go back to John 3:16.
All right, John 3:16, here it is. For the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
So what people fail to realize in the Bible, the word world has more than one definition and meaning. World is a cosmos, is a set apart society, and so on and so forth. Okay, so before we go there, let's go to the book of John, chapter
17:9.
Yeah, chapter 17:9. So we're going to show you that the world has more than one definition.
It says here, it says, I pray for them. I pray not for the world.
So he prays for them. He prays not for the world. Keep reading.
But for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine. And all of mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee. Holy Father, keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, and that they may be one as we are. While I was with them in the world, I keep them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled.
So that show you right there that Christ came to those who were given unto him. But who were those that he was given to? And I'm going to pick it up at the book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 30 through 32. And it reads, the God of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. He hath God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance unto Israel.
To everybody?
To Israel. And forgiveness of sins. And we are his witnesses of these things. And so is also the Holy Ghost, whom God hath given to them that obey him. But we're going to further expound and we're going to show you exactly who the world is. Go to Isaiah 45:17. And we're gonna cold crush that the world is everybody right now. We're gonna get that out your minds. You Gentiles who's watching is coming against us right now, the men of the Lord. And we're going to expound for you Israelites who are watching and don't know who you are, and show you that the Most High came specifically for you, the children of Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that fit the curses in the Bible that are scattered to the four corners of the globe.
All right, this is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation.
That's right.
Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end.
So the world that Yahushua came to is the children of Israel. And to further expound that he came to the 12 tribes of Israel that are scattered to the four corners of the globe, we're going to pick it up in Esdras, chapter 2, verse 14, 11, 10 and 11.
No, I got Esdras 14:10.
Okay, bring it over.
Okay, and it says, for the world have lost his youth, and the times began to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts.
How many parts?
12 parts.
No, it was divided into 18 parts.
No, it says 12 parts. Yeah.
Okay, so the 12 parts is the 12 tribes of Israel.
And it even goes further, and it says, and the 10 parts, meaning the 10 tribes, are gone already,
That's right.
and half of 10th part.
That's spiritual.
Yep. So that right there let you know, and we just crushed that. The world is the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's right.
John 18:20, as the texter brought up, I have spoken openly to the world. Jesus replied, I always taught in the synagogues or at the temples where all the Jews come together.
Where who come together?
All the Jews.
Okay.
Okay.
I said nothing in secret.
That's right. So the world right there is the Jews because he was speaking to the Jews.
World of the Jews.
That's right. And he already showed you that the 10th part was already gone in Esdras. So the Jews, the society that he was speaking to was the Jews.
And we also got to remember too that the New Testament is teaching from the Old.
That's right.
You can't go into the New Testament. It's like a new TV series. You know, if you go watch a new TV series, you don't just go to episode 2. You got to watch the pilot, right? Episode 1. So it's the same thing with the Bible, man. You cannot skip the Old Testament and think you're gonna understand the New.
Yup, you can't skip the Apocrypha.
Okay.
I want to bring this out concerning the heathens, because I teach that everybody should keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and have faith in Christ to their best of ability. But the covenants and the salvation of the kingdom goes to Israel.
That's right.
Amos chapter 9, verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, which of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith Yahweh, that doeth this. So the Bible does say that there are going to be Edomites and heathens that's going to be called by his name also. So it's your best it's in your favor to try to keep these law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability and have faith, so that you may have a place in the kingdom also.
Yep, and they're going to have a kingdom, and we're going to show you how they're going to have the kingdom. Let's bring out Isaiah 14.
I was looking for that one, man. Isaiah 14. I think I had it earlier. Oh, yeah. I got it. Isaiah 14.
Yeah, bring it out.
And it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them.
It says we're going to possess them. Go ahead.
In the land of the Lord, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors.
So that's what's going to happen. So they better keep these laws, statutes, commandments, so they can at least service in the kingdom when they're going to get that lake of fire.
That's
Yeah,
right.
this is a future prophecy. This hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Go to Revelations 13, 9, 10.
Yes.
Now we want to make clear that God or Yahweh can choose anybody he wants.
That's right.
He has the power to choose whoever he wants. But if you got to live this truth the correct way. You
That's
can't
right.
be a Christian following law, statute, commandment and be like, oh yeah, I'm saved. No, you can't. You got to remove that whole Christian philosophy out of your mind and come to the word for what it is.
Okay.
So,
Revelation chapter 13, verse 9, starting verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
that's right.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
That's right.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
That's right. So the world that Christ came to right there, we proved it. He came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We can bring it out too.
Yeah,
Bring
you got
it out
that.
Matthew 15, 24.
Let me see 15. Got that one too. And Matthew, what is it?
18:11.
And we also, 18:11, exactly. I'm going to read 18:11 first. So this is Matthew 18:11. For the Son of Man, Yahushua, is come to save that which was lost.
Yep, you're not going to find that in your NIV or your ESV Bible.
Yeah, they take that
They take that out.
Mm-hmm.
So you following behind that Jehovah's wickedness, you're lost. You're off right there because it was founded by Charles Taze Russell.
That's right. And then we go to Matthew, what we got? This is 15 and 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So that clarifies who was lost.
Mm-hmm.
To the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to believe, guys.
Yeah, but it also says in Isaiah 49, I'll just paraphrase real quick, that Israel's supposed to be a light unto the Gentiles, so Israel's supposed to be teaching all nations, because
That's right.
with these nations teaching Christianity, you got a lot of confusion where they don't know what day to worship.
Yep. And we supposed to be showing them by our acts how to live. We supposed to be the role model by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Okay. And anyone, so people who abide by the teaching, whether they're Israelites or not, will be saved?
That they have a chance, and so they have to believe that they have to believe in the whole Bible that Christ is a black man, that he came for Israel. They have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments.
Okay. All right. I think that we're out of questions. We've been there. It's ready to end in closing. Is there anything else you guys got coming up? Anything else you guys want to talk about before we
we
close?
came to address topics. I guess we're going to come back for another show.
All right. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a good show today. You guys addressed what needed to be addressed. And, look forward to you guys coming back again.
All praise.
All praises, and we was glad to come here and edify the people, I want to give once again all praise, glory, honor to the Most High Yahweh, and in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai. Thank you for everybody watching. Judah Knights of Israel, we want to give you a shout out. Brother Ham Yah, Brother Uriel, Ben Judah. And with that, we want to say shalom.
I want to give a shout out to all the texters that came in and text and asked questions, because we were happy to address what you guys wanted to hear rather than what we wanted to just talk about. So I really appreciate you guys coming out and doing
Yeah, you guys really like the questions being asked, huh?
Yeah, not at all. It keeps the sword sharp. Iron sharp as iron.
Okay.
I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Most High God Yahweh, in the name of the God, Son Yahweh, and I want to thank you, Mr. Truthit McNeil, for providing us a platform to
thank you
share
once
the word
again.
of the Most High.
Not a problem. As I told Yakanan Maccabeus, you guys are always welcome.
All right.
All right?
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Who Yasharala?
Who Yasharala?
Who Yasharala?
Who Yasharala?
Who Yasharala?
Who Yasharala?
All right.